I remember maybe the first or second year I'd ever been playing guitar. It was getting close to Christmas, and my dad said to me, "Hey, look, what do you want for Christmas? I know you've just started playing guitar. Is there any guitar-related stuff you'd really like?" And I said to him, "Dad, I want a distortion pedal," and I really wanted a Boss DS1 because I had seen Joe Satriani and Steve Vai and all these other players use a DS1, and they could play guitar great, and they had great tones, so obviously it meant, hey, a DS1, that would be the way to go. And I'll never forget him saying, "You don't want a distortion pedal, what you want is an EQ pedal. I think that will serve you a lot better." And I was like, pfft. And anyway, for Christmas that year, I got this, a Boss EQ20, which had just come out. And at the time, I didn't realize how absolutely awesome that was. I was like, I want the orange Boss pedal, you know, all my friends had one, everybody seemed to use these things, you know, little did I know anything about guitar tone, and I got this EQ20, and it changed the game for me in a lot of ways because I slowly realized, hey, it's got a level control, I can use that to make my pickups louder and get more distortion from my amp, and if I push the mids in front of an amp, that kind of gives me more distortion in a really pleasing musical way as well. And then if I put in the effects loop of my amp, I could kind of do this and make like a smiley face, and suddenly my guitar would sound like Metallica. And it's like, whoa, this is a really, really powerful piece of gear. So I'm seeing all these things on YouTube pop up, like 10 things to buy guitar players for Christmas. So I don't want this video to be something like that, but in this video, you know, let's talk about EQ pedals and what you can do. I've got this, the old EQ20, and I've also got this. This is, I think this is one of the funniest names for a pedal ever. This is made by my buddy at Anarchy Audio. This is called the Esquilax, for all you Simpsons nuts out there. And this one works in a really interesting way. Obviously the graphic EQ, hopefully you all know how a graphic EQ works. But this one's interesting because, you know, as guitar players, it's always like, yeah, turn the mids down. But this one actually works the other way. So going counterclockwise turns these controls up as a boost. I guess this is like a semi-parametric kind of EQ. So you got a level control and then a low, mid, and high control. So basically, if you want to boost the mids on this one, you turn these knobs counterclockwise. Let's have a listen to it in 3 different contexts. First one is going to be as a pre-boost into an amp instead of a tube screamer or something. What we're going to do is basically mimic the curve of those. You should totally go and watch all the other videos on YouTube about using EQ pedals. Ryan from Plague Site Studios has a really great one that he did like a month or 2 ago, and when I was getting ready for this video I watched it and I was like, there's all the tricks I was going to talk about. So I'm not going to try to cover all the stuff he does. His video is way better than this one. Go check it out. It's awesome. I'll just go through the way I actually use this pedal and sort of give you a chronology of how I used it. So the first one is going to be as a pre-boost. What we're trying to do here is change the character of the pre-gain. So we're basically trying to change the character of our guitar. And you can use this in front of a distorted amp the way I like it, basically to tame flubby low end, really push the mids and get that classic, I guess the way someone like Dimebag would have used it as a pre-boost. It's what I call the 80s pre-boost trick. In this case, what we're going to be doing is pushing around, you know, 800, 1.6K on this pedal, and in this case we'll really be focusing on the mid control. The high control on this pedal is basically a high mid control, so we'll be doing that. And the idea is kind of like roll off the extreme highs, roll off the extreme lows, really push the guitar-centric frequencies of the mid-range. Then we're going to have a listen to it in the effects loop, where I'm basically going to be using it to add low end and pull out mids and basically turn a honky sound into a crushing metal tone. And then we'll have a look at how we can kind of meld those 2 approaches for use as a solo boost. And I used this pedal on my pedal board. There was at one stage I used to have this and a delay pedal, both in the effects loop of my amp and a tuner in front of it. And that was my rig, and I would use this as an overall solo boost. Rather than turning the level up, I would sort of push a little bit of the mids, I would pull a little bit of the high end out, and I'd sort of leave the lows alone. Then I moved on to this pedal a few years later, and the way I would use this would be to cut a little bit of the high mids and to boost some of the actual mids and basically play around with the low control to suit the amp. So there's all the talking done. Let's have a listen to why EQ pedals are awesome and why they're powerful, and why you probably should get one rather than a distortion pedal. Listen to your dad. Listen to my dad. He was right after all this time. Cheers for watching.